a small town.
Fucking welcome to the podcast.
Thank
That
you.
podcast. We work at Auth0.
Yes, that's right.
We use Auth0. That is our identity system, login system of, I guess you say, of choice, of preference.
Yeah.
Love the product. Really integrated with it. So here's the thing I want to talk to you today about.
Okay.
This is my laundry list of bitching. So our login, and I'm just curious how other people handle this and around the UX, and maybe we're doing it wrong, maybe we're not doing it wrong, is I'm a new user.
Okay.
I come to the site, and I say, I want to log in or sign up. So this is where problem one comes in.
Okay.
We redirect to your login page,
Right.
which is, from what I understand, kind of the most secure way is to get to you,
Right.
let that exchange happen, and you come back to us.
Right.
But the ability to kind of control the sign up or login is so subtle that we get a lot of duplicate accounts.
Okay. Like similar exact same emails used.
It depends. Depends on, said social thing that they use and signed up with there. So I guess my kind of first question is, why is there a way we can have more control over that UI? Or what do other people do in this scenario? Like, what's kind of the best practice for somebody who runs server side, hydrated page, and then we run on Svelte to be
Okay.
Svelte kit to give you context. But
Yeah.
what's really the kind of best practice in this login world of multiple identities and all the stuff? And I'm just diving right in.
Yeah,
like,
no,
"Ah, shit.
Good. So I think what you described is the best practice.
Okay.
But I think that you're asking kind of a more specific
Nuanced.
question, and if I'm hearing you right, it's how do we help with the duplicated accounts? Whether is the scenario where they used Gmail to, like Google, to authenticate and create the account, and then they came back and then basically recreated the account with the same email that was tied to the Gmail?
I'll give you.
Is
I'll
that
give
the-
you. I'll give you. I'll give you the example. I'll make it concrete. So Clark, I go and essentially, if I log in, I go to Auth0, I log in, I essentially I get signed up.
Right.
So now I have a record on Auth0.
Okay.
They get redirected back to us, and then we have them create a profile. Right. So their profile has that Auth0 ID. That is their key there, and then they add their bio and all that kind of stuff on our side. They log out. So let's say I use the username and email, and I'll just say it was, hello@thatconference.com.
Okay.
And that's probably a bad example. Partners@thatconference.com.
I got you.
Okay. And then I come back, and it's been 6 months. I come back, and I'm like, I don't know what I used.
Oh.
So I hit Twitter, and I sign in with Twitter.
Okay.
But Twitter's associated to hello@thatconference.com. And I come back.
So that's a different email.
It's a different email,
Okay.
right, from that provider. I come back, and of course, we're like, don't know who you are.
Right.
So, and you're not in Auth0,
Right.
right? So even though you're the same person. So you come back, and then it's like, okay, create a new profile. So now we have a duplicate profile issue.
Yeah.
Now, I guess in that scenario, the onus is kind of on the user, but it kind of becomes our problem.
Yeah.
Now, I think the issue, I honestly think the issue is more of a UX issue, because I understand, like, we merge accounts. I think they merge automatically if I had come back and picked Twitter and it was partners@thatconference.com.
Right.
I think Auth0 puts
Yeah.
that as the secondary account,
Yes.
comes to us, we don't give them the thing.
Right.
But the whole login sign up it's really just kind of changing the form slightly.
Right.
fuck, I don't even know where I'm going now.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
though.
it's
I see
this
what you're
weird,
saying, but
nuanced UX thing where we get people confused as to what accounts they have
yeah,
and whether or not they should have had an account already. And maybe it's in part because the login and sign up boxes look the same. So, and if it wasn't flipped right or however
Yeah.
they landed there, they come in this login versus the create a new one.
Yeah, I will say that the thing that Auth0 does that helps mitigate it as much as possible is what you said. If somebody came back and tried to create another account because they forgot their email and didn't try to figure it out,
Yeah.
and they use Twitter or Google or something,
Yeah.
Auth0 does catch that if it's the same email somewhere associated between, and it does add it as a secondary.
Yeah.
But in the problem where you came back, used two different emails or two different usernames and potentially different passwords, that's kind of like I don't know what you would expect for anything to use. How could any application know that you were
not trying to do that?
Yeah, that you didn't intend to do a different account. So I think the best is the mitigation that Auth0 does is just to try to guess if somehow that social connection has an email on it.
Yeah, it's a very interesting. Let me ask you another question. I mean, obviously, I'm gonna ask you questions. That's dumb. What if, given the state of the world of Twitter, let's say it goes down tomorrow?
Yeah.
What do I have? What do I do with those logins?
That's a good question. I really don't know. If Twitter was to go down,
you know what I mean? Like they go away, and all of a sudden that login identity is gone. I mean, other than saying, here's all these email addresses, I need you to. I mean, I guess you could add another login, but the primary key is kind of wrong.
Yeah, I think the whole OAuth is good. That's probably the con of OAuth. The pro is that you can sign into Twitter and then you can access 15 different things.
Yeah.
But the con is now you've
bound to Twitter
and you're relying on Twitter. So I think that's not an Auth0 or application problem.
Yeah. No.
Like that's going to be on the user if they use the platform to connect and that platform can no longer do the authentication, then that's on Twitter. So hopefully that would never happen. But yeah, it could definitely happen. But that would be on the social provider or whatever you use to authenticate with.
Yeah, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, identity's hard. Yeah. Right. That's why we use you. I mean, we're totally happy with the service. I don't want to be in that business. The exchange, there's a lot of technical goo that happens and kind of bouncing back and forth, and somebody hits a page if they're don't have the right role or whatnot, and
the permissions.
And I'm not by far not an expert, right? You guys are the expert, and so there's always times where you feel a little uncomfortable, like, am I really doing this right? Like, is it my UI? Is it my people? Like, what the hell am I doing wrong?
Yeah. There's one thing that Auth0 is added in the last about year and a half is adding a little bit more customization to the
like
login
to the UI.
To not just the UI, but we've added. So I'm sure you're familiar with like Lambda functions.
Yeah.
You can run functions serverless. So Auth0 has something called actions.
Yep, we use them.
Okay, use them. All right, perfect. Yeah, so
that's where we determine, we give you a role.
Okay. Yeah, so that's kind of become an empty and open playing field for anything that you want to do. If you want to like redirect to some type of page that says, are you sure you don't have an account? There's one that has a similar name as yours and similar date of birth. Is this, do you already have an account before we create one? You can add in those kind of like middle before they get their account is created, or I don't know if you want to do this, but with the Twitter example, if you don't want somebody to create that account, I don't know if this is good, but you could redirect or show a message that says, "Are you sure you want to use Twitter to create an account?" Like we have actions as kind of like this open. You can do anything. Slack hooks, Gmails, redirected from page. So if you want to like customize that even more, you can do that using actions and whatever your imagination gives you, you can do.
So y'all have an amazing amount of documentation. I'm just waiting on the SvelteKit package. That'd be great.
Do we not have an SDK for that?
If it's out there now, I need to know about it.
Probably not. I don't think we have a Svelte one.
Well, whenever you have one, if you want a beta tester, let's bring that puppy on over to me.
I did not know you guys were on Svelte. That's interesting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I'm wrapping your React package and doing all kinds of shit on your React package.
On that? Oh, wow.
Yep.
Dang.
It's what's the React what's the next package?
Oh, the next one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Pick that puppy apart and
kind of reverse engineered it.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't like referencing it, but it's working for me right now. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So whenever you get that, just call me up and I'll work all night on that.
We got to figure out like the data on Svelte stuff. It seems like I'm not super on Twitter and all the medias and stuff, but it seems like it kind of like ebbs and flows of popularity and.
Oh, it's growing.
It's growing.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I just want you to do it for me. I don't really care about anybody else. This is my party. I want it. But you guys have a great amount of documentation. Sometimes, and maybe it's out there and I just don't know it. I feel like I need to be educated or I need to be almost like lack of better terms, a checklist. Like, hey, are you doing these things, right? Like this, it's 2023. Like, let's do a health check of like, are you doing this? Did you upgrade to this? Like, here's the best practice that's been introduced. Because when it's working, it's working, right?
Yeah.
And you tend to, because I'm using it, I tend to not think about it and not necessarily kind of come through and check and say, oh shit, well, something's really changed. Maybe I should reevaluate or whatnot. Yeah. And you guys abstract so much of that away, but.
Do you feel like a notification of some kind would be better, email, versus relying on you to go and look for the 2023 checklist?
Oh, I would prefer an email that says, this is not even like a newsletter all polished, just a State of the Union of you're an account owner and here's the stuff to look at and make sure you've done and check, and Apple's changed this thingamabob, and here's changes coming with Google's thingamabob. We do have
like newsletters, but it almost seems like I do like that, by the way, because Auth0 and we're always releasing new features and packages and like you said,
but then it becomes noise,
right? And eventually, if you're always announcing something every 2 months, you just kind of push it away,
right?
So yeah, a little like 2023 State of the Union and identity and auth.
Here's your health check.
I like that. That's a good idea.
And it would be the thing that to pay attention to, right? Because I get a lot of email, so some of them make it in the garbage, and I tend to forget about it.
And some people have like a love-hate relationship with emails too.
You think? Holy shit.
And I don't even know how many of the Auth0 emails, because of the noise, might just go directly to a folder or to spam or something.
Yeah, it's amazingly awkward how mad people get at times for getting email that they signed up for.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not.
Or a product that they're paying for.
Yes.
You think that you're probably going to get some emails.
You think you would like it. Like, I'm trying to communicate with you.
Yeah.
What do you see as things that people commonly get wrong on the platform?
I think the biggest thing is, and it sounds like you guys aren't this because we talked about actions, but the biggest thing that I've seen is people just use the bare minimum of it and then move on, where they don't, and then they almost like, when you're paying for a product and you don't use it fully, you slowly will think that it's not as valuable to you as you can.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
So I think people throw in Auth0, barely design the login page look kind of close to their own website, and then move on. But
I could design that login page to look like my website?
Does it not now?
Hell no.
Oh, really? Does it?
Didn't know it could. It has the logo, but that's the only thing on it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there was an update. So before the update, you could change the color, and you actually could go into the tab and change the entire HTML.
This is for when I redirect to your site.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need that shit.
You have the full HTML that you can just edit yourself. So
Okay.
you can change that. It's not going to be in Svelte. It's going to be
with just raw HTML.
raw
that's
HTML
fine.
and CSS, and that's the whole page is there.
Yeah.
And as long as you don't touch the important stuff, right, where the script to bring in the box
Yeah,
and stuff,
totally.
you can change that entire page to look identical to how you'd want it to look. You don't want to mess too much with the form fields and stuff.
Yeah,
but the
totally.
background, you could throw a camping chair in the background or something and change the colors and favicon even.
Do I have the ability to pass data to it to say, like from our side, some kind of state that says this is?
These are the questions I come for right here. I don't know if you can pass state to it.
I'm using state generically. I mean,
No, I know what you're
Yeah.
saying. I think it would have to come through the URL or probably the URL, some type of
so
query.
it's got to be
string or something.
URL.
Well, because it's a
URL.
redirect, right? So it'd have
Oh,
to come
yeah,
through,
totally.
It'd
Yeah.
have to come through like a query string
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something. I'm sure you could. But yeah, you could change that entire login page.
So this is one of those examples. If you think about when we put Auth0 in, it was 2000. It would have been, I don't know, June of 2000. And my ability to keep up on it versus keep up on all the other things, because at that time there was no changing it.
Yeah.
And I missed the update of like, hey, you can make it look like your
Right.
site.
Well, and then we just updated it like 5 months ago to where it's even more, like even easier. It's kind of like a Webflow type of drag and drop and like a little bit more, it's a little bit less code, but still more functionality to change that.
Well, I really screwed
So
up.
log into the dashboard, go to
Yeah.
the visual tab on the
Okay.
side there and find the universal login, and on the side there you have access to change that whole page. I've seen beautiful ones where like the redirect is very smooth and the color scheme and everything moves across that without even noticing. I'm like, oh, this is not Auth0 page, because they've even changed their own. I don't know if you have the custom subdomain option in your guys' plan where it stays on a subdomain that you own.
Oh,
versus
yes.
Auth0.
Well,
So there's
here's
different-
another problem.
Okay.
It's not really your problem. It's more our problem. We have 3 domains.
Okay.
We have thatconference.com, that.us, and then the back end and like all of our shit is on that.tech.
Okay.
So
Oh wait, the back end's where?
on that.tech.
Okay.
So,
And both sites hit that .tech.
yep. And it's like auth.that.tech,
Okay.
which is Auth0. So, we try to do the best job that we can, saying, "Hey, listen, just so you know, you're going to auth.that.tech."
Yeah.
'Cause God forbid you get email and somebody's like, "You're phishing me with this .us thing."
Cross-scripting.
And it's like, no, .us is a valid domain, man. It's,
Yeah.
it's just our domain. Yeah, I'm really concerned now. Not in that I'm doing something wrong. It's that what am I not taking advantage of?
Yeah.
I almost want kind of that like that audit of like, hey, yeah, cool, you've been using it for a few years. Did you think about boom, 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 boom? And I go, cool, no, let me go look.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the state of the unit thing is good because definitely we do announcements like here's a new thing, and it's easy to just turn that off and to mute it and stuff. There's a lot, and there's something that I don't know if you were going to get to something like this, but like when users have multiple tenants or like multiple
Yeah,
domains that are kind of like in and of themselves different,
yeah,
but you want to share the same like authentication service
Yeah.
and how to switch between them. We have something that handles that. It's called organizations. It's a whole other topic,
Yeah.
but we have something that kind of handles that multi-product flow of things. So yeah, I think a State of the Union might be good.
So
to-
I think this is where I've come in our little conversation at this point is, and if you'd be up for it, we should try to figure out how to do this. I would love to get on that.us and fire up some open spaces and essentially go through like tell me what we're doing wrong. Like
yeah,
here's our tenant. here's how we use
Well,
it.
what is something you're doing wrong?
Well, I shouldn't. That sounds bad. I didn't mean doing wrong. Just not taking advantage
Oh,
of
gotcha.
like if we weren't using like how
describe
could
your-
we better use actions, right?
Gotcha.
You have this. You mentioned organizations. I'm pretty sure we're not using that.
No.
And then you go and say, hey,
It's kind of a niche thing as well.
yeah. The other thing that's a little goofy for us is since we're open source.
Oh, you are?
Yep.
Oh, the entire site's open source?
The whole thing.
Nice.
Well, it makes the development side of people contributing very difficult
Yeah.
for keys.
Oh, yeah. API key stuff. Yeah.
Well, even login keys.
Yeah.
There's not. I've asked before, like, what's a good solution as to how do I manage this for others who are contributing, because you have to log in to do things, and I don't. And maybe there's
Sounds
not
like you
really
need
a
to
good
give-
answer.
It sounds like you need to give specific roles to people.
Yeah, but you need the keys in the source
Oh,
so
for them
that
to
you
hit.
can log in
Log into
locally.
Yeah, but log into
The platform.
your backend.
Yeah, so that you have a token, and you
Yeah,
could
I
call the API.
Yeah, so I think what you can do is have everybody creates an account for
Mhm.
Auth0,
Mhm.
and then as the admin, you just create a role, open source developer,
Yeah.
and then you assign that to, let's say, James,
Yep.
and he's going to go apply. He's going to go do some work locally.
Yeah.
With that permission, your backend can get that token and do stuff with it.
Yeah, but you need the key on the client side to send the make the requests
To
and unpack the. So we're server side
okay.
rendered. So that server side has to create that cookie that goes between the things, which means I got to have the key to send the request over to you or sign it and then bring it back. I know I'm not using all the right words because
Yeah.
it's complicated and I know what the hell. I don't know how the hell it works. But then I need one of the keys to come back to validate it so that that stuff's created and can flow back and forth.
Yeah, I'd have
Hence, though, we should just get on an open space and go like, here's what we're doing.
yeah.
And you can go, well, you could do it this way, or have you thought about?
Yeah, I'd have to see how you're doing stuff, but with the key stuff, you wouldn't need to generate a key to log to. Okay. All right, I see what you're saying now.
Right,
The
because
key-
you need
the key is
your
for
SDK needs the
SDK.
domain.
That's what I was missing. Okay,
You need
I
a
thought you were talking
domain.
about the key for your backend,
No.
and I was thinking that you would just use the token, but key for the SDK. You don't want to give that out to anyone, right? Because then they could mess with stuff. That makes sense.
So we have a dev tenant, basically, where we can swap those keys or get rid of them, but it's just.
No, it sounds like you're doing it right. That's an interesting. Wait, so how do you solve that then?
I didn't solve it. I just know that I can just kill that tenant if I needed to.
How do you
those
approve
keys.
someone's PR then? Like, how do they know if what they did worked if they can't?
It can run It can run on our build rigs. So when you submit
But
your
they can't develop
PR,
it locally to see.
right,
They have
unless
to-
I give them the keys. So trusted people, I give the keys, but non-trusted people, I can't. But when you submit something to GitHub and the PR fires up,
Right.
the build process, like Versa will say, do you want these keys to be, do you approve this user using these ENV keys or environmental keys? And obviously I'd look at the code and say, make sure they're not trying to console log the thing out and steal
Yeah.
it. Cool, yep, that code looks safe, great. Approve the build to run, go through the PR process, and then
So on an application level, you would like to see some type of developer key that could be provided to SDKs that have limited ability to make changes. They can't delete users, they can't view users. They could potentially add or move users around.
maybe.
Yeah, depending on what you checked, whatever permissions you checked.
Really just want them to be able to log in and have their role.
Log in and have their role. Yeah, at the minimum.
Yeah.
Well, the role would need to be defined in what it does too.
Yeah. I mean, that's defined in Auth0, right? So they would.
But once you have that SDK key, then yeah, they can do lots of different stuff to the whole tenant itself.
Right.
That's a good. I like that.
Secrets are hard.
That's the kind of questions that we're looking for, because that's very specific. But I wonder how other people are solving that. And honestly, there might be an answer to it. I just haven't heard that question before.
We've thrown it on a forum,
Okay.
and I've gotten I've gotten answers for the packages that are spa packages. It's like, well, you're using our thing, so it's a you don't need this. And it's like, right, but we're server side rendered, so we have to have it so that the cookie can get created and dropped and validated, because that's how it works.
Wow.
So
That's a good question. I'll have to look into that one.
What
Now I'm intrigued. I don't know how that would what workaround. I
Yeah.
would imagine we have to have something, but
we's about to find out.
yeah, I guess so.
Sounds like you and I are becoming best friends.
That's a good solutions engineer question. Somebody that does that stuff at Auth0. I'm sure they've been asked that and
Oh, I'm sure.
got a solution somewhere. Maybe it's something roundabout like what you're doing, where it's only trusted people, or just the CI CD stuff.
Yeah. Just makes it hard when you're building locally and
Yeah.
half your site's under lock and key.
I guess what they would do is just comment out all the security code.
It's so ingrained it's right, because every API call, right, there needs some context, because we're going to send your bearer token
hopefully
across.
If you coded it in a good-ish way, you hopefully just have one svelte component that did all that, maybe, and you could switch out the logic to just always be true.
No, because the backend.
I don't know what.
I mean, you have to, at some point, you have to send a bearer token to the API,
Yeah.
right?
I'm just wondering if you could somehow send an empty string with bearer in it, and somehow.
My backend does not have any holes in it.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
Now, you're right in the sense that if I brought the API down and you were running against the API and you did all that locally, sure, we could play games around it to where.
Yeah, but that's definitely not ideal.
No, not at all. And our backend is 6 microservices or services and a gateway, and it has a set of keys to talk to Firestore. And
right. I'm sure you have a dev environment and staging.
Shit, brother, we test in production.
Oh, okay.
But yes, I mean, we have a PR and a staging. So like on the front end side, you can do PRs and that'll build on the edge, and then you have a staging environment and staging URL where you could test things. So you can have a feature branch that you can test for the next. But
gotcha.
Yeah, having it all open source it's a fun challenge, if you will. I love doing it. It certainly keeps your hygiene game up, because you're like, okay, I don't really want to fuck around with this.
How many issues do you see get posted?
Oh, I've got there's what's posted publicly, which is I don't know, it's probably
20?
200 things.
Oh, 200.
Yeah, I mean, enough that it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And then I've got my own set, which is my backlog's twice as long as what's there. So.
Yeah.
But I do, in all fairness or all sincerity, I do really enjoy working with Auth0.
Yeah.
It provides a lot of things that I know that we're not really taking enough advantage of, which I would like to. I want to audit myself now and say what's there.
Yeah.
But I also, in all fairness, I don't want to deal with that shit.
Right.
That's why I'm paying for you guys. I don't trust myself.
Yeah.
I trust you.
I feel like what most customers, unless you get really enterprisey level, like I mentioned before, everyone just throws the login page in and gets what they need and moves on. But I think if you just take a little bit longer and a little bit more effort and look into it, you can design your page to be beautiful and the same. You can easily add in multi-factor authentication. Sounds like you guys
we have multi login. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's great. But I feel like a lot of people don't go that extra mile. We have things that are super niche as well, like fine-grained authorization and organizations, that kind of stuff.
How many? You also have the passwordless login.
Yeah, we have email, password list, biometric.
Is that a thing that's really catching on? I mean, I know there's a number of sites who use that, but that's one I don't have on.
Yeah. There seems to be, that's definitely a preference thing.
Yeah.
I think the people that like it are really
Love
loud
it.
about it, and it might seem like it's pretty popular, but from what I've seen, maybe more older time, more conservative type applications or typically just do login using password. Safest is passwordless. If you get that route where you get a push code or you get the biometric stuff logged in with Apple, they have passkey coming out for apps. That's all passwordless. Best case, the official word from Auth0 is passwordless is the best because passwords are easily stolen and given.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But there are like the passwordless stuff. The one that I find kind of annoying as a user and being objective, I don't like it when they email me a code that I have to go to my email and get a code and come back to it. I like the biometric stuff or like the push notification stuff to your phone. Those are that I like the most with it, and those are the most secure.
Yeah. Is there a migration path to going to that?
It's just a toggle switch.
No, I mean, if I'm a user who already has a login, can I then, do they end up merging just like the rest of it would?
Yeah, so it's
toggle it on
it's
and
a
then
toggle switch, and then the next time they come in, they'll try to sign in with their username and password, and after that, a message will come up and it'll say, please add a phone or please add some type of biometric or an SD or a YubiKey to put in to authenticate, or they would probably already provided this, but added email in. So actually, you as a developer wouldn't have to do anything. The users would slowly migrate to passwordless in some form of some kind of sort of way, and all that you had to do is toggle something. So they would Auth0 would handle that transition.
That bit's getting flipped.
Yeah, all that would.
So then there's.
It depends on what kind of passwordless you want.
Yeah, totally. So their key, or your user ID. You know, it's like Twitter, Whack, whatever, Goo.
Yeah.
So that stays the same.
Yeah.
It's just so their main primary
if they
key.
use a social connection, that'll stay the same.
Yeah.
Because it's technically passwordless to you. You're not getting their password. It's an OAuth flow.
Yeah. Yeah, that bit's gonna get flipped.
But yeah, you flip it in your back in the dashboard, and users will just switch progressively as the next time they log in to whatever you've defined that they can use. It also depends on your plan. So I don't know what plan you're on. That's the disclaimer. I think certain plans.
The one I can afford.
Whatever. If you're on the highest tier plan, you can do everything, right?
There you go.
So I'm speaking in the highest tier plan.
I'm speaking with God mode on. I have it all. Yeah, I'll have to look at that for sure. Yeah. Well, listen, would you be up for like jumping on and doing like a pair thing?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Sounds good. Well, listen, I appreciate you being on. You
Yeah,
just had a kid or something too, right?
Yeah, I got back from maternity leave last week. I
just got thrown right into this.
Yeah, but my child was born last year, so I have one of the tech company paternity leaves that are super long, which is great.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I had a kid last month. It was months ago.
Still.
But yes.
He's still months ago. I had kid decades ago.
Yeah, it's months ago.
Yeah, let's find some time for sure. I'll get it on the calendar with you, and we'll pick it apart, and hopefully that'll bring a whole bunch of other people more value too.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, brother. Appreciate it.